Hey, and welcome back to Studio 6. Today we're going to make an Anubis statue. So first, let's start with the materials list. And there we go. And if you want to see how I made this base, you can skip right to the 6-minute 42-second mark. Alright, we're going to start with a 1x1 wedge. And another one. These are going to be the front paws. And then we'll switch to 1x3x1 wedge. This is all in Koa. You can certainly change it up if you want to make a same color as the base. That's entirely up to you. Alright, a couple 1x3s. And then we'll get a tiny floor which promptly glitched out. And I will fix that later. So a tiny floor goes right behind the 1x3 wedge. And then another tiny floor. We're going to flip this 1x1 wedge over and put it right between the legs. That'll be our chest. Now, a majority of the Anubis statues are in this style. We'll get some 1x1 wedges on each side, and then another tiny floor in the middle. I know nowadays Hollywood has made the tall anthropomorphic Anubis more fashionable, but this is definitely a more classic style. 1x3 wedge, and we'll use that for the neck. And then a tiny floor. Followed by a 1x1 wedge underneath. And this is certainly built off the dog base, but there are certain variations when you're making a jackal. A longer neck is one of them, and so are longer ears. So with the 1x3 wedge, we'll do one of those longer ears. There we go. And then we can use a short smooth wall or wall stub for the base of the body. Again, as a statue, we can make this a little more angular. And I've reset and got all my blocks back. Alright, 1x1 wedge. And then another 1x1 wedge. Follow that up with two tiny floors. There's one. And here's the second one. Now this is basically the style I did on my Overwatch base. There'll be a bit on that in the future. And we'll follow us up with 1x2 wedges for the back legs. With no feet, definitely more in line as a statue. Now I'll have pictures after this statue build. This is where I left the originals. But then I decided to make them a little more snazzy, a little more showy. So that's a one tiny tile of gold followed by a tiny floor of gold. We'll grab a tiny tile of lava. And this one you kind of have to do head on and maybe flip it over a couple times so it'll line up. But we wanted that gold band underneath the show. Right there. Now we'll get a 1x1 wedge gold. And we are going to put a headdress on this statue. And we'll follow it up with another 1x1 and slide it down off the other one. There will be a couple tricky moments here. We'll repeat this on the other side. But because of that wedge offset we did for the band, some of these blocks we're going to have to force in. Like this one right here. If you come at it from underneath, you can force it in there. And we'll do the same for this side. Otherwise it tries to offset by a tiny tile. Alright, another 1x1 wedge. And again, have to come under and force it in there. And we'll repeat on the other side. And this actually looks pretty good as is. So if you like, you can leave it here. But I've continued on and added some more embellishments. We'll take one more 1x1 wedge. And we'll have that one properly glitch out. We'll do that on the other side, and luckily I've got an extra. Alright, it's got a nice curve to it. Definitely have that long jackal neck and ears. And then last we'll use these tiny tiles. And kind of from the lion build, we can use these tiny tiles to cover up the neck. Again, if you can come on an edge on, you should be able to get it right in there. There we go. Alright, there we have it. A quick and statuesque Anubis statue. Stick around if you want to see how to make this base. Here's the original build. Same color. And then on my pub crawl base, this is the Egyptian pavilion. And I really like the way these turned out. And they convey exactly what I want them to. Alright, let's get that base going. Here's the mats list. And as always, you can find these mats list on my Twitter feed. Alright, we'll start with a 4x8 wall. And then 2 posts. Now I'm using elm here, but for the statues I've shown in the pictures, I've used pine and or palm. Again, the choice is up to you. Now we've got a couple 1x2 wedges angled upward, and we will repeat on the other side. And done. Now I'll take a smooth wall, 2x8, put it in vertical, and we'll use 2 more to fill up that gap. Now, of course, you could just use a small floor and close off the ends if you wanted to put a light in. But I'm not going to do that at this time. And then we'll take another smooth wall and repeat the base. Again with a couple posts. Gives it a nice, unique, and pleasing shape. And there we go. And then just a few little embellishments to kind of give it a pop of color. And we'll go with a tiny tile of green. Of course, I need to get my green right. Again, totally optional. And then a tiny tile of lava red. There we go. And then one more tiny tile of green. And there we have a nice base. Thanks for coming. We'll see you again next time. Thank you so much.